Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Poverty consciousness is destructive. Poverty consciousness is destructive. You know what, I'm doing this money channel and everything, to give business ideas, to give advice on budgeting your money and just general monetary advice. But one of the things, if you got a poverty consciousness, well, one, you're probably not watching this channel if you have a poverty consciousness. Now, what is that? A poverty consciousness means you think as a poor person. And here's the thing: you could be in a disadvantaged environment, born into it, and still not have a poverty consciousness. Meanwhile, someone else could be born into a fairly affluent background and still have a poverty consciousness. It's more of an individual thing. Yes, it's affected by your environment, but ultimately it comes down to your choice. Now, what is a poverty consciousness? Poverty, you think like a poor person. You don't manage your money. You spend it all the time. If you look at the poor people, go to poor areas, the issue is not that they're not making as much money. People think it's the issue, and of course, what do? They say, hey, we got to raise the wages and everything. But I told you about that game last week. They'll raise the wages, but then raise the prices. So you're not really getting a raise. Because what good is getting 15 an hour if the milk is like $5 a gallon? So what good is it? But a poverty consciousness means you think as a poor person. Now, what the poor person does is they get money and they spend it. They don't manage it well. That's why, if you think about it, they have money though. That's why you have so many businesses in poorer neighborhoods. You can find more shops, businesses, fast food places in a poor neighborhood. Only thing you don't find is a quality grocery store. That's the only thing you don't find, but you find everything else. Pawn shops, poor areas has a whole economy. Why? They got money still flowing, but they don't control it. They don't spend it wisely. They go to the liquor store, or let me say it the way they would say it around the way, liquor store. They're going to spend it on cigarettes. It's like they're going to spend it on lottery tickets to get out of that situation. And let me touch on that a bit. Many poor people actually win the lottery, but what happens to the overwhelming majority of them? They spend the money quickly. And then they keep themselves poor. Well, of course, most people don't have an idea about the house of money. Most people don't, or financial houses. Because when people with some money and they have an abundance consciousness, not a poverty consciousness, but a wealth consciousness, they'll put their money into things, businesses, investment products, stocks. Well, stocks are funny. Real estate funds, way better for investment. And they will have their money make more money for them. Even in how some people use their credit cards. Some people will use their credit cards because of the cash back provisions and then just pay off the bill right away, which is the smart thing to do. So that's the thing. But when you talk about a poverty consciousness, you're talking about somebody who will quite frankly be in trouble for the future. Someone with the poverty consciousness, they're not going to save money. It's been said that in America anyway, if half of Americans couldn't handle a $400 emergency, but if you check how much money they're making, they can handle it. Because think about it, even in poor areas, they still will have big TVs. They'll still have those fly clothes. They'll have a lot of the stuff anyway. Might get it at a discount, but they buying it because they spending money. And it's destructive because what can you do? See, money is a tool. They're using the tool in the wrong way. Money is a tool that you can use to have a good life. Because think about it, we still got to eat. I don't care what your political philosophy is, you still got to eat. So if you use that money to get good foods, healthier foods, or at least buy foods from healthier places, and I've talked about that before, like in poor neighborhoods, the food quality is poor. The food quality is very poor. Like in the one grocery store they have covering that whole area, the food quality will still be poor. So that's one thing. Food, clothing. A lot of times they buying cheaper clothes instead of the better. They'll buy the flashy stuff, but it's not always the best, not the best quality. So they're continuously buying clothes. That's why certain, I'll say national national discount stores like thrive in poor areas. You'll buy something out of there and then you got to replace it soon. Well, I know that because when I was working on this one job, I always mention I'm working on a retail job. We had to have a certain style of dress. So I would buy stuff from this place, but I always had to go back and buy it again in a few months. And I was like, this quality isn't good. So, clothes and then shelter. You aren't able to get the best conditions, or you might be at the whim of some landlord who decides, hey, I'm gonna raise the rent $600. That's putting stress. And then you talk about like medical care and things like that. Because despite Obamacare, there's some people still in trouble. Because you still got co-pays and stuff. Or what if you have some dental issues, but you can't afford to pay it? Like, money isn't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. And so it's destructive even having that consciousness. Because I've seen some people who were educated. They were educated. They had the ability to really make money. But because of that poverty consciousness, they put themselves in a bad position and really went through it. And like I said, it's not always about like where you born exactly. Because I've met some people from disadvantaged poor areas, and those would be the self-made millionaires, but they already have a right idea about money. And that's something you really got to pay attention to. It's not even so much how much money you have, but how you think about money and how you use it to your advantage, how you use it to make more money, having a wealth consciousness. I told you, everything I buy has to do with making more money. This shirt I'm wearing is mainly to do these videos. The mic that I'm using now, I paid for it right away because my other mic was going bad. My other mic was going real bad. So I was like, okay, invest. And it's already paid dividends for me. The camera I'm using. Every time I buy something, I'm thinking, okay, what it's for? Like to work out, I got some newer shoes. Now, they weren't like all stylish. I can be fly in them. Very practical, but I said, okay, I'm about to be more intense with my workouts. Now somebody say, well, how's that an investment? Well, other than my health, what do I promote on my men's channel? Body game. I gotta look like I work out. I gotta look like it. No, I ain't gonna be that fitness model. Well, I could be. It'd take a lot of work. But I gotta look like, if I'm telling guys to hit the gym, I gotta look like I hit the gym. And I gotta do a good job. So that's even an investment. And that's one of the things you want to think, okay, how can I make more money? It's very rare I spend money on something useless. Very rare. I ain't gonna say it don't happen and usually that's after I see, that's like, I ain't really need to spend money on this, And it happens, but you want to think in terms, okay, how can I make more money? Don't just get the money and spend it. That's a poverty consciousness. And I told you, and especially with the economic times that we're in now, they still haven't used the official R word yet, recession. But, if a business has to cut back, that affects people. And of course, if they have to lay off people, those people can't spend money at other businesses. So, but you can still survive any recession. Like the last great recession, the last recession of 2008, Great Recession of 2008. Well, do people call it great? It was major. I actually made more money through money management. I didn't notice a dip. I did not notice a dip. I was actually making more money. And and my business wasn't cranking like that. It was one of those real down periods just for the business, but otherwise money was still flowing. Just because I had a wealth consciousness. That's the key. It'll get through stuff. Knew how to save money, invested, all of that. So, but if you got that poverty it's destructive. It can be destructive to your life. You can't get the same medical care, live the same way, eat as well. And then if you can't pay bills, you're stressed. So it's very destructive. So work to have a wealth consciousness. Work because the whole point of this channel is to change how you think about money. That's the main point. All right. So I want y'all to think on this. And you know how I always say at the end, let's go make that money.